What's up? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, being subbed. If you're not, hit the button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit that like. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into this conversation. Hey guys, so I wanted to have a few conversations about a few different topics. And first, do you remember the first season of America's Next Top Model like I do? I used to watch it faithfully until maybe about, I don't know, maybe season 7 or 8. I can't really remember. And then I fell off. But the first season, the winner was Adrienne Curry. And she was the Caucasian chick. I think she was from Chicago. She had like a really thick accent. She actually was, really pretty. And she did not have any types of hindrances about being nude. And if you remember that season, Robin, she was the plus size chick who I think she was like top three or top 4, real pretty. She actually looked like Aaliyah a little bit, but she was just very plus size, but beautiful. But anyway, Adrienne, she went viral recently because she was doing a series of TikTok videos just talking about how life is definitely not a fairy tale. And as you can see, this was her back in the day. And this is her in present time. She doesn't look bad. I mean, she just looks someone who has, aged to be in her, I'm assuming, 40s at this point. She is letting her gray hairs rock. She's got much fuller brows, which actually looks a whole lot better, but her skin is glowing. And I'm speaking as an esthetician, so can't hate on her at all for that. But she's done a series of videos talking about life as a has-been. And I hate that title because it's like not everyone wants to stay in the limelight. Not everyone wants to stay in Hollywood. And the top 2 America's Next Top Models that we can all think of in terms of people that have really become successful and a name for themselves is Eva, who won, I believe it was season 3. And then Yaya was the runner up in that same season. And they both have been very successful actresses. But she's living in Montana. I don't think she's broke. She didn't say she's like Dawn Robinson from the group In Vogue, where she says she's living in her car. She didn't say anything like that. But she's, saying she's just laying low because people do recognize her, but not really that much. Not saying, oh, you're the chick from America's Next Top Model, but just saying you look familiar. So she says her strategy is just to lay low. She says, I try not to wear makeup and just try to be normal. And people will look at me and be like, nah, that ain't her. And this is one of the images from that season when they were doing their photos and crazy with the real snake around her neck. But I wanted to just put a little spotlight on her for a minute because recently Tyra Banks, Yaya actually was talking about her, and I don't think Yaya was actually speaking about her in a negative way, but someone came out to blast Yaya saying, girl, if it wasn't for Tyra, you wouldn't be where you are, and you should be grateful and you should be thankful. And she never said that she wasn't, and she wasn't bashing Tyra. But I know that it seems like every so often there's going to be some stories that come out about these former America's Next Top Model contestants, and they'll put a negative spotlight on Tyra. But Tyra was the host of the show. I don't believe that it was her creation. And although she may have been a producer of the show, whatever, I don't think that she had as much control as a lot of people have tried to make her out to be. So I don't think it's fair for people to put the fault on her. But I'm not even saying anything about Adrienne to say that she is. She hasn't said, and as far as I know, at least recently, I don't know if she said anything back in the past. She may have, because I do remember she had married one of the guys who used to be on the Brady Bunch. they were on the Surreal Life Together, which is a reality show that comes on VH1 or did. I don't know if it still does. And she actually wound up dating him and getting married, and they had a little reality show for a little while, but she's no longer with him, so they're divorced. So she may have said something back in the day because maybe she did get a few jobs and did get her little contract, which was, I think, at that time worth $100,000. Honestly, guys, $100,000 really is not a lot of money, but when you don't have money, that $100,000 seems like, oh my God, I am going to be rich forever. And the lifestyle will quickly show you that $100,000 is really not a lot of money. So now she's living out in Montana, trying her best to keep her skin looking tight. And and she's saying, yeah, I'm a has-been and I just try to lay low and I don't really want anybody to know who I am, but you all on social media, yeah, let's just talk about it. And she let people know that the industry will eat you alive. She said it is cutthroat, it's lying, and it is predatory. So I guess she went through it and she was like, you know what? I'm done. I'm going to move to the woods of Oregon or down in Montana somewhere where nobody who knows who I was back in the day will recognize me. So I just thought that was interesting. Let me know if you remember America's Next Top Model and you remember that season that she won, which was the first season. And that's one of my favorite seasons because it was the first. And they had some real funny moments. But anyway, I'm not going to get into all that. Next, we got to talk about the Diddy trial. So, right now, jury selection is underway. They're saying that it could take a couple of weeks for a jury to be selected. And it's funny because a couple of days ago, I was talking to someone about this, and she was like, "I mean, who are they going to find to be on the jury? Like a nun from Spain? Because like, who does not know anything about Diddy and hasn't heard about some of the stuff that he has been accused to have done?" And I agree. I don't know who they're going to find to be on this jury because anyone that says they don't know, I feel is a liar. That's just my personal opinion. But he turned down a plea deal. And look, I don't know. I mean, I do feel like a lot of him turning down the plea deal is due to his narcissism and also maybe feeling like, look, if I do get some time because this is a federal situation, I'm going to get my homeboy 45/47 to slide me a pardon and I'll pay him for it because we know 45/47 will do anything for a price. The price is right, he will do it because America is for sale right now. But anyway, some of the names that are being dropped during this jury trial. So, Cassie Ventura, of course. We know she dated Diddy. She's one of the celebrities mentioned during the jury selection. And we know she filed a lawsuit against him in November 2024 and he paid her off, but it doesn't mean that that payoff is going to prevent her from either being subpoenaed or voluntarily testifying in this trial. So, she is expected to testify as the hotel surveillance video CNN released in May of last year. Can't believe it's been a year. Will be one of the key pieces of evidence in the trial. The clip showed Combs physically assaulting the singer during an altercation at the California hotel in 2016. I don't like that they call it an altercation because that makes it seem like it was a fight. He was just beating her ass. But anyway, Dallas Austin. He is also named during jury selection, potentially due to his past close relationship with Combs's ex-partner, the unfortunately no longer living Kim Porter. Don Richard, former Danity Kane singer, was one of the accusers who filed a lawsuit against Combs in 2024. She claimed the hip hop star assaulted her, sexually, and that she witnessed the rapper physically abuse Ventura on numerous occasions. And in response to the lawsuit, Combs' attorney, Erica Wolf, released a statement dismissing the star's claims. Harvey Pierre, former president of Bad Boy Entertainment. Pierre began working at Bad Boy in 92 before leaving in 95. He eventually returned to serve as the company's president until December 2017. And approximately 16 to 17, allegedly, Pierre, Essie actually assaulted. Mm, gosh, what is wrong with these people? Kanye, he's listed, and Combs and Kanye West released Lonely Roads Still Go to Sunshine in March, months after the Bad Boy Records founder was indicted on charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, and transportation to engage in selling the body. Kid Cudi, Kid Cudi, I don't say Cudi, Kid Cudi. And we already know the allegations about him blowing up his car and Cassie dating him and this and that and the other. Lauren London, Lorianne Gibson, Michael B. Jordan, Michelle Williams. And some people think Michelle Williams, they think Destiny's Child, but no, the actress. She was mentioned during jury selection. I do not know why. Mike Myers. It's yeah, and I believe some others have been named too. But I don't know who they're going to get for this jury. My personal opinion is anybody that's on the jury and say that they don't know anything about this is a liar. And either for the purposes for them hoping to convict Diddy or for the purposes of hoping that they can get him off. Because people will do stuff like that. They'll try to get on these juries, in these high profile situations, and they already go in with this notion of either that, person is guilty or they're innocent, and they'll hope that they can get on the jury so they can sway it in some way and make it work out because they're a fan of that person. But also, I want to know if you guys feel like all of the social media attention, all of the vloggers that have been doing content about Diddy, some of them like 3, 5 times a day. Oh my God. Like, do you feel like any of that could potentially hurt? Because we know about the people who've been doing their rounds on different YouTubers platforms doing interviews. There was some people that I also feel were liars, not saying that I'm rooting for Diddy because I'm not. But there were some people, and I'm not going to name them, but they had done interviews, and I feel like some of them were just flat out completely lying. And then there may have been some truth to some of the things, but I feel like they were embellishing their stories to make it seem like it was more salacious, the stuff that they had known about or were participating in for the sake of telling the story. Because we also know Jaguar Wright is like the number one headliner when it comes to the Diddy stories, and she's a great storyteller if nothing else. But do you feel that he missed his opportunity and he's going to wind up being behind bars for the rest of his life because he did not cop a plea? Because all the sex stuff aside, I believe just the weapons charges alone, I believe they carry at least like a 10-year sentence. And there was like so many weapons that they had confiscated that I believe were unlicensed and unregistered. So I believe that alone could take him down, honestly. So I just don't see him getting out of this. And he probably should have copped a plea. I know he's already 50 something at this point, but yeah, it's not looking good for him. Unless, like I said, some people can get on that jury that just know their intentions are to get him off and find him not guilty and do like an OJ situation. But you guys let me know your thoughts in the comments. All right, guys. So listen, I don't want to scare you, but we got to talk about this because this was shared with me yesterday, and I actually started to talk about it, and I just got caught up with a lot of things I was working on, so I didn't get around to it. But here we go. Scary, right? Absolutely. I don't know whose idea this was to put this crap on his head, but it looks terrible. First of all, it's jet black, and he's got the salt and pepper mustache and beard. One, okay. Two, I don't know if it was just a deal that he had made with this guy who was able to do this for him, but it did not look good. I felt like he looked ridiculous with that on. So Not saying the guy didn't do a good job, because clearly his work, but it doesn't look good on him. It looks like AI. It it does not. No. First of all, he's just not attractive, and he clearly has a lot of confidence because he loves to call other people ugly and fat and all kinds of stuff that he says about black women, which for whatever reason black women seem to love him. Not all, I know, but yeah, he says men get lace front wigs too, and we know this. I told my husband this years ago about Steve Harvey because he didn't believe me when I told him that was a wig that Steve Harvey was wearing. He really thought that was Steve Harvey's hair. But yeah, that just looks ridiculous on him. The guy did a good job. He, I mean, but it just looked bad on him. And it's hard for him to really make anything look good, in my personal opinion, because he has a face only a mother could love. So yeah, um, I just did not. Yeah, that didn't suit him at all. So I guess he decided to take it off because, yeah, ciao. Oh my god, that just looked crazy. Yeah. What do you guys think about this? He was like, "Listen, I'm gonna keep trying until we get it right." But yesterday's look simply wasn't it. It sure wasn't. It sure wasn't. I don't know if he just really decided I look bad in this, or my scalp was itching me so bad and I need to go ahead and take this crap off. But yeah, he really believes he looks good though. Yeah, he looked. It looked. It looked terrible. It looked terrible. So let me know what you guys thought about the look that Funky Dineva was rocking, because I just didn't. It was funny. It definitely gave me the laughter and the comic relief that I was looking for. I really needed that laugh. So if nothing else, he gave me a good laugh, because when that was shared with me, I said, "Oh my God, what is this that we are doing right now?" Okay. And speaking of what are we doing right now, this is stupid. I don't know if Brian McKnight was listening to his wife, took her advice, and said, "Okay, yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and sue Jaguar, right?" But this is so ridiculous. I don't know why he's wasting his time and money, because he's going to be the one out of pocket. He's suing Jaguar Wright for accusing him of doing stuff to his ex-wife and to some paid ladies of the night. Okay. So he's taking legal action for her claims, accusing him of, uh, you know what, his ex wife and SEX workers. In the newly filed lawsuit, McKnight accused Wright of spreading damaging and salacious allegations online, including claims that the Grammy nominated singer hired and mistreated paid SEX workers during SEXual encounters, TMZ reported. The singer also denied Wright's claims that he was manhandling his ex wife, Julie McKnight, who Wright says is her cousin. Oh my God. Not only did McKnight deny the manhandling claims, but he also said he was never aware of Wright's alleged family ties to his ex wife. And McKnight is going after Wright for damages. That part is funny because it's like, clearly she is not well. Clearly, this woman is not well. So this isn't the first time Wright's controversial claims against celebrities have landed her in hot water. Last October, Piers Morgan was forced to apologize after conducting an on-air interview with Wright on his uncensored show, during which she referenced Sean Diddy Combs while accusing Jay-Z and Beyonce of having multiple victims. For 4 years, I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay Z are monsters, Wright said. You all remember that clip, right? Morgan followed up after the interview and offered an on air apology to the Carters after Jay Z and Beyonce's lawyers sent him a cease and desist. And it's like, if Pierce Morgan removed that interview, came out and issued an apology, and the Carters sent him a cease and desist, and they didn't go after Jaguar. What makes you think you going after Jaguar, Brian, is going to do you any favors? The woman clearly has no money. She clearly is not all there. It's sad, honestly, because she is a great storyteller, if nothing else. And people love to listen to her and listen to her tell these stories. And a lot of the times, the stories that she tells, it's stuff that people really want to believe, let alone if they don't want to believe it, but they want to hear it because it's salacious. Why are you going after her? Go after the platforms that she did it on, if she did it on anyone's platform, but to go after her, boy, bye. Because if you've lost any money, it's because you've been treating your children from your previous marriage and relationships like trash, disowning your daughter, disowning your sons. We find out your son is going through cancer treatments, and then you renamed yourself so that your new son could be actually your legacy or your junior or whatever it was, right? It was just despicable. So for him to go after Jaguar Wright in court and sue her, I just think it's stupid. But hey, he's the king of making stupid decisions, because I don't get how you could just disown your family and take up with this new woman. And it sounds like he might be listening to her advice, but this is just stupid. So yeah, Brian McKnight is just stupid. He cannot blame Jaguar Wright for low ticket sales, or him only having the option to go over to another country to do some concerts, because people over here ain't feeling him anymore. And it's because of how you treated your family. That's not Jaguar's fault, okay? Jaguar has mental issues, and you just need, even though I'm not a fan of Jaguar, leave that woman alone. Like, suing her is a waste of your own money, and you really need to be saving up that money because your tickets are not selling over here, all right? All right, and finally, Michelle Obama. There is nothing that anybody can say to make me hate that woman. She went through so much being the first lady of this nation, where a lot of people were despicable to her and to her family. Okay. So I am quite sure there's a lot of healing that she is going to need. Let that woman heal. If you hate her, stop talking about her. But as much as not you, but those who want to try to break her up with her husband, and they're going through divorce and this and that and the other, those are the same ones that claim that they are Christians, and they're all for a lunatic who is on his third marriage, who has all of these convictions and felonies for all of the deplorable things that he has done, right? And they want to sit and try to conjure up things about Michelle Obama and Barack. So she says she's going into therapy for transitioning into her next phase of life. People are going to try to chop this and screw it and make it seem like, oh, this is code for, she's separating from Barack and this and that and other. Listen, when you are a woman who has had children, who has been in a marriage for years, and you have been the support for all of these different people in your household, and your husband was the president of the United States, that alone is like, are you freaking kidding me? And then she's had the scrutiny of all these people that have been calling her a man, calling her a monkey, all the different things that people have said, and just the foul stuff that people have conjured up about her and her family, and even the attempts on her husband's life. Like, nobody talks about those things, right? She's been under a freaking lot of stress. So the fact that she is still sane and still here through all of that stuff. I give her all of the standing ovations that I can conjure up because she is being real. I don't mind that she's doing a podcast with her brother. She's just trying to get some enjoyment out of this life that she has left. Stress will do a number on you and try to take you up out of here. And I feel like a lot of those people, that is the intent. Okay. So she said, at this phase of my life, I'm in therapy right now because I'm transitioning, I'm 60 years old. I finished a really hard thing in life with my family intact. I'm an empty nester. My girls are in, they've been launched. And now, for the first time, as I've said before, every choice I'm making is completely mine. I now don't have the excuse of, well, my kids need this, or my husband needs that, or the country needs that. So she's like, so how do I think about this next phase? And let me get some help. And that is so amazing. I love that. She's like, let me unwind some old habits. Let me sort through some old guilt that I've been carrying around. Let me talk about how my relationship with my mother has affected how I think about things. And her mother passed away. Her mother passed away last year. So the fact that people keep trying to destroy her relationship and break her up, she's like, it's the first time in my life all of my choices are from me. And she also touched on her newfound freedom and just the fact that she was like, look, this couldn't be a grown woman just making a set of decisions herself, right? But that's what society does. We start actually going, what am I? What am I doing? What am I doing this for? And that's why she was like, F Donald Trump and that inauguration. I'm not showing up there. Why in the world would I be there when that man tried to have these crazy lunatics out here coming for me by making little innuendo statements about me at his rallies? So now, people try to make it into she's leaving Barack or Barack's cheating on her and all this other crazy stuff that's not even going on. And they're two freaking regular, real human beings that happen to be in a position that is one of the highest in this nation for a period of 8 years. Let her live. Leave Michelle Obama alone. I just, there's nothing anyone could do to make me hate that woman. And she could do whatever she wants to do as far as I'm concerned. So, guys, let me know your thoughts about everything in the comments. Thanks for being here, liking, and subbing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So, until next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.